Welcome back, folks, to Scripting for Linguists. In this episode, I would like to ask and answer this question. How big is a small dictionary in Mojo? Now, the reason I ask that is because in the documentation for Mojo, for their dictionary object, they point out that performance and size are heavily optimized for small dictionaries, but can scale to large dictionaries. So as a linguist who uses corpus linguistics techniques, I'm working with millions of words, right? So I'm curious to know, when does a small dictionary become a large dictionary? And, when do I lose that performance optimization? So to that end, I wrote a Mojo script, this one here, in which I pull in the text from a big bad boy TXT file that has 230 million words in that one TXT file, hold it in memory. Then I have this helper function right here on lines 9 through 14, which simply limits the number in that list. It takes the list and just limits it down to a smaller number. And then I loop over 100 to, I actually go up to about 2.5 million words, jumping 100 word, having a jump distance of 100 words per iteration. So that is the first iteration, I give a dictionary 100 words. And the second iteration, I empty that dictionary and give it 200 words. In the third iteration, I empty the dictionary to 0, right, and then give it 300 words, etc., until it's up to about 2.5 million words. Now, of course, those are running words. Those are word tokens in corpus linguistic methodology or terminology. The word types, that is unique words, is also important. And so I keep track of the number of words, that is running text or word tokens in corpus linguistic methodology or terminology, as well as the word types, which is unique words in corpus linguistic terminology. And then I'm only timing the part where I populate the dictionary, the empty dictionary, with n number of words. Just that one part here on lines 26 through 32, just timing that one part. And I'm taking an if-else approach, right? If the word is already in the dictionary, then add 1 to it. If not, set its count to 1. Only that part is being timed. And then I get the duration, and I write it out to a CSV file that I can use in R to visualize the speed. And as you might suppose, I've already done this before the video started. And I had it run for about 9.5 hours overnight. And I got almost 25,000 observations between 100 words and 2.5 million words, jumping at with a jump of 100 words per iteration. And the data frame looks like this, and the CSV file looks like this. So here's the number of words, 100. The number of keys are the unique words or word types. And I just simply got the frequency of the just to see that it was increasing as well. But the main thing I want to look at is the seconds over here on the far right column. So with 100 words and only 66 word types, that is unique words, that is items in the dictionary, this took about 191 microseconds, millionths of a second. And then the next one had 200 running words and had 109 items in the dictionary. It took 204 microseconds or millionths of a second to do that. And if we just kind of jump down to some random place down here, when we had, what is this, 1.8 million words there, it took a minute, or not a minute, 1.8 something seconds there. Okay. So yeah, there's like 25,000 observations that I have here, rather than just the typical 10. We're talking 24,000+ observations. And so I use my old friend R to plot this up, and I'm plotting up time on the y-axis and number of items or keys in the dictionary on the x-axis. And as you can see, there's this parabolic shape, so that the more keys, that is items there is in the dictionary, the longer it takes, exponentially so it takes longer and longer. So yeah, they are correct that small dictionaries are optimized in Mojo right now. So let me just put a straight line just for reference. Let's put a straight line through that so we can see what that would look like if we put a straight regression line through those points. The blue line there is the straight regression line, just so you can see, yeah, this is a parabolic shape. It's getting slower and slower exponentially. So the more items we have in the dictionary, the more keys we have in the dictionary. If we look at the number of words that it dealt with, we see a very linear relationship. That is pretty much a straight line. This is number of words that it dealt with. Again, this is not the number of items in the dictionary, but the number of words that I gave it to deal with. And that is pretty darn straight. In fact, if we put a regression line through that, let's do that for fun. It is pretty much straight. Very linear increase in time by the number of words that we give it. But again, the take-home message, I think, is that when we look at the number of items or keys in the dictionary, we have an exponentially slowing trend there, going from left to right. So to answer the question, jumping back to this point, how big is a small dictionary in Mojo? Right, I'm not sure I can answer that definitively, but what I can see is that if we look down here at the bottom left of my screen, right, we see that, you know, this slope is pretty slight. There's not much of a slope here between 0 and 10,000 items in the dictionary. It gets a little bit steeper between 10,000 and 20,000 items in the dictionary. And like I mentioned, it exponentially gets steeper and steeper. That is slower and slower the larger number of items we have in the dictionary. So again, I'm not sure if I can answer this definitively, but let's say 10,000. A dictionary with fewer than 10,000 items seems to be, you know, quicker and doesn't seem to be affected as much by increasing the number of items in the dictionary until you get to 10,000 or past 10,000. But again, it's gradual the whole way through. Just to give that cutoff is kind of artificial. But you can see there's a very exponential increase there with number of keys or items in the dictionary. So yeah, that's how we can answer that question. Somewhere between 10,000 and I don't know. It depends on what you're doing. For corpus linguistic techniques, right, looking at millions of words, this could become an issue pretty quickly with the current implementation of the dictionary object in Mojo. Great. Thank you so much. I will put a link to my script, my Mojo script that I showed earlier in the video. Thanks for watching. See you next time.